Okay, so in this video, what I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to be demonstrating for you how you can start to set up your divs in such a way that they kind of section off different parts of the website and allow you to organize things a little better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look quickly at how websites tend to be structured in a way. So I'm going to just go to YouTube quickly, just a fairly common website, and I'm just going to look at it. So if we look here at YouTube, we can see that we kind of have a structure here. So at the top we have kind of like a strip going across the top, and this tends to be a common theme with websites. You have a strip on the top and it generally has your links in, it has some way of navigating the website. On some websites you may also have this kind of element, so this is a sidebar, and your sidebar may also have in different ways of navigating the website. And then generally you're going to have below your header area, below the strip at the top, you're going to have your content. Okay, so we can see here that YouTube has all of their content here just below the header. And on some websites, so YouTube allows me to infinitely scroll down, but on some websites you'll also have like a footer on the bottom. Okay, so it's going to be another strip on the bottom resembling the strip at the top that would be the header. Okay, so if we go back here to the website that we were doing here, let me just close this tab. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to organize these divs in a way that kind of resembles what we would have identified as that structure. Okay, so I'm going to have a header going across the top, I'm going to have a sidebar, I'm going to have like a general space below the header for our content, and then I'm just going to have a footer at the bottom. Okay, so to do that, what we can do is we can actually use the same width and height commands we were dealing with before to kind of allow us to spread the boxes out and put them in different and stretch them across different areas of the website. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring back up Notepad, and remember that we were organizing our website using two different methods. Okay, we were using the div tag here to assign a height and a width, so all of them have the same height and width because this is affecting all of them. Everything that has a tag div is going to be subjected to this particular command, to these commands below it here. And I don't want that, because what I want is I want my header to be of a particular height and width, and I want it to go right across the page. But that may not be the case for the other divs that I'm working with. So for right now, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take out this div command here. So I'm going to take out that section altogether. And what we'll do is that we'll manually assign the heights and widths for all of these sections individually using the IDs instead. Okay, and remember that the IDs allow us to target individual elements and apply changes to only that element, which is obviously advantageous because with tags what we do is that we just change all of those elements collectively, and we don't want that. We want each of these to all have a particular dimension, a particular height, a particular width, and so on. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here and I'm going to put in height, and I'm going to put the height for this at, let's say, 200 pixels, so 200 px. I'm going to put the width, and this is going to be a new thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the width at 100% to stretch right across the page. 100%, good. So what I'm going to do now is that, again, to speed things up a bit, I'm just going to copy these height and width commands, and I'm going to copy and paste them into the other areas here where we are affecting the other divs. Okay, good. So now they're going to all have the same height and width, but I don't want that. Okay, so what I want is that I want my sidebar to take up a certain percentage of the space, and I want my content to come next to that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to give both of them a height of 400 pixels, but with regards to the width, I'm going to since I want them to be side by side, I'm going to take off 20% from my sidebar. So I'm going to take this, put this as 20%, and I'm going to put 80% here for my content. Okay? And then finally, I'm going to leave my footer to have the same dimensions as my header. Okay? So let's try saving and see what happens. So save, refresh. Good. Okay, so that looks good. That looks good. So we can see here that our header is going right across. It's taking up the whole space. Our sidebar is taking up 20% of the width of the page, and our content is taking up 80% of the width. But the problem here is that they're not next to each other, and I'll deal with that in a minute. And our footer is also going right across the page, and it has the same height as our header. One adjustment I'm going to make here though is that I'm going to make the header and footer a little less tall, so I'm going to make them 100 pixels instead of 200. So 100 pixels, 100 pixels. Good. So I'm going to save that. I'm going to refresh it again. And good. So now the header is a bit smaller, and our footer is a bit smaller. Good. And you'll see here that the header looks a bit more like what we saw for YouTube. So if I bring back up YouTube again, yeah, we can see that in terms of the height is similar in height. Okay, so that's good. I'm not seeking exactly to replicate YouTube entirely. I'm just using it as an example of the structure of of the basic structure we have for a website generally. Okay, so I'm going to leave this here for now. I don't want to overload you with too much information, but you can see here that we're starting to kind of parcel out different areas of the website as we continue. So when we, in the next video, what we're going to do is that we're going to go through how we can get these two sections here, the sidebar and the content next to each other.